And we're live.
Woody, do you want to talk about piss?
Yeah, I guess so. I feel like the story is fading a little bit compared to last night.
Well, it's not it's a fake
a real
story.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
it's just fun to laugh at.
Yeah.
Still
So, for people who don't know, I have my own interpretation of how this whole thing went down that I haven't heard anyone else say. So, here it is, Woody style. I'll try to be nonpartisan about it. If you go back a week ago, Trump is denying intelligence reports that the Russians hacked into the DNC and exposed their stuff through WikiLeaks, right? Donald Trump doesn't want that to be true because it feels like it makes him a little less legitimate as a president if he got help from an outside country. So Chuck Schumer said something that caught my attention. He's like, you don't attack the credibility of the intelligence community because they have 6 ways till Sunday to get back at you. And that
I didn't like that he said that. Chuck Schumer might be.
So you heard it too. Okay. Yeah.
Chuck said that.
So I heard that and I was like, oh, that's a thing. I took it, stored it away, right? So then Trump does a briefing on Friday, like almost a week ago, with the intelligence community. And if I understood the story right, Trump was like, we're having these leaks, so I didn't tell anyone. I didn't tell my assistant, who he trusts, who's been with him, long before the presidential stuff, all his staff, etc. They didn't know anything. They were just completely out of the loop, and it still broke, which kind of implies that maybe someone on the intelligence side broke this story, that just sort of like leaked it. And now Trump, who has been taking attacks, saying that he knows things, the intelligence, like kind of putting down the intelligence community. Suddenly 2 things happen. One, fucking, what do they call it? Golden Gate or Golden Shower Gate, like whatever, that thing launches. And 2, Trump is now saying that the intelligence did do all this stuff and that he's on board with the intelligence community. Like, I think the intelligence community fucked him through the back channels and leaked this story.
I think you're connected to things that have nothing to do with each other. He finally got his briefing, right? They finally sat him down and they said, this is what we know. This is how we know it. And I don't know anything about that briefing. None of us should, although he's looking into why NBC might have known a little bit of something about it before he did. But I think the whole thing about him getting pissed on is so outrageous. And look, dude, it's coming out now. The guy just ran for president. The dirt would have came out. We got the grab him by the pussy tape. But nobody mentioned that Trump likes to get pissed on.
McCain had that thing. McCain had this a while, like months ago, but didn't. He just released it to the intelligence community, not to the public.
What is it that he released? I'm confused.
Apparently, this information came from a British. Look, it's all coming out now.
I saw something like that where a bunch of people on 4chan are claiming that they sent that and that they fucked with it, and it's like. I believe that just as much as I believe that this actually happened, that Donald Trump was up in a hotel and vindictively demanded 2 hookers to pee on that bed. Like, pee on that bed. That's where Obama fucking sleeps. Or where he slept, at least. Maybe he'll sleep in it again.
Neither of them is true. 4chan did not leak this.
Probably not. I don't think any of this is true.
They went to the way back. Like, there's a site that archives all this 4chan shit, and they had, like, no specifics whatsoever. And but apparently McCain gave this stuff to the intelligence community months ago and kept his mouth shut. That's a story.
But what stuff? I'm still confused. Like
pissgate stuff.
But what is the pissgate stuff? Like okay, so there is a claim that Donald Trump had 2 prostitutes piss on a bed. Who is saying that?
British intelligence.
One anonymous guy that claimed to be British intelligence.
How does British intelligence gather? Do we have a name?
No. Look, all this is unfolding. I feel like I'm on the hook for how credible this stuff is, right?
No. I'm just trying to understand. It's like, did Agent 007 like come forward and be like, yes, my lord, I watched them defile the bed. It was disgusting. He jerked it furiously. He rolled the dice, as they say.
I'm not saying any of this is true. I'm saying this is what I've seen. Apparently, 007 found out that the Russians had videotape of this lewd act, and he told McCain, and then McCain took this information, turned it over to the intelligence agency. The intelligence agency was briefing Trump on all the stuff they have, and they say, here's an example of verified correct intelligence. and he outlines how like the Putin broke into the DNC, gave this stuff to WikiLeaks. How if he lost, they were going to be like, what was it, hashtag democracy is dead or something like that. Like they were ready to destabilize and delegitimize.
Well, you're talking about Russia Today is what
I'm saying. Part, right? So they said, look, this is verified, correct. We're on target with this. As an example of intelligence that we're not sure about, here's the thing about you getting pissed on by 2 whores that was presented to us from British intelligence.
Wait, is it that he got peed on by 2 whores? I thought that it was.
I don't know.
That's
people
were saying that Donald Trump hated Obama so much that he got 2 hookers to go pee on the bed that Obama slept on, and that's just so fucking weird.
That's what it reads, and I hope he did.
Yeah, I don't. The internet has changed it into he's into water sports and stuff. So yeah,
he kind of is, but there's different levels of that, right?
Though, right?
Oh, is he? If he's a germaphobe, he's not into water sports.
I don't think he's a germaphobe. I've seen like at the rallies, like he comes and fucking kisses babies and like and he shakes hands.
He claimed to be a germaphobe in his press conference today.
I mean, maybe
convenient. That's suddenly he's a germaphobe.
Yeah, I would tell everybody I was a germaphobe too if there were like thousands of people giving me death threats every day and I have to meet and greet all the time. It'd be an easy reason not to shake every hand. They probably gave him a briefing when they said, hey, did you see that movie where they tried to kill Kim Jong-un with that little patch on the palm? Those are fucking real and they're everywhere.
No, the germaphobe thing came out in reaction to the peed on thing. He's like, he didn't say all these words, but it was, I'd never be into pissing stuff. I'm a bit of a germaphobe, let me tell you. You know,
I just wish there was one person in the press pool or whoever he's saying that to who is into water sports, and he's like, actually, it's sterile.
yeah.
Did you see the CNN thing today where Trump was doing the whole Q&A with all the media, and CNN, he starts to like barrel through a question, in the big room of media, and Trump is just like, be quiet. Like, shut up. Like, you've done a very bad job, CNN. And then he goes to call on some lady, and the guy on CNN just keeps barreling through his question the way those people do. And Trump's like, excuse me, this woman just tried to ask a question. You're being rude. And then just lets the people from other networks ask questions. And then when like CNN tries to get in again, he goes, you are fake news.
You didn't see that, Kyle? Yeah, it depends on the lens you view this stuff through, right? To me, Trump came off like a pussy. Right, like the CNN guy is trying to ask him questions, and Trump is like, no. Yes. So to me, Trump came off really weak. Whereas like Obama went on Fox several times. 1v1s with Bill O'Reilly, and
Fox is the biggest cable news station in the world. Sure. CNN, however, is the least trusted cable news station in the world.
I read that.
Also blamed
fake
Fox
news
multiple times.
I'm sorry, what?
Stuff. There was also a lot of times that Obama said stuff like, oh, yeah, Fox just poisoning all these bitter clingers or whatever they were saying.
Yeah, he said that. But
I don't think that's a bad move, because you're always going to get credit from the people for fucking with the media, it seems like. Like, I think we all kind of like seeing the media.
They have I think the media's approval rating is even lower than Congress's, perhaps.
Could be. But that's the whole lens thing I keep talking about. Or I call it a filter one. Like, so the Trump supporters are going to look at that and be like, yeah, he screwed over CNN. I hate CNN. Much like if he were to screw over, say, Sidney Crosby, like I would be on board with that. But, when you're not on Team Trump, you're like, oh, that's so weak. Like you're scared of CNN.
You call that a slap shot? Ha!
Yeah. And Sidney Crosby's a pussy who can't grow a beard.
It's the best player in the NHL, and it's not close. I just am baffled that we come back all the time.
Maybe you haven't seen the beard.
Couldn't pick him out of a fucking.
That's it.
Couldn't pick him out of a fucking lineup. Don't even care. But here's my feelings on the Trump thing. Like I think it's fake because it's so outrageous and everything. We have no verifiable sources. It seems like nowadays we just run without any verifiable sources. Like I need a guy's fucking name who's standing behind his words, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you're telling me someone whispered to you in the dark and told you a deep, dark secret, there's aliens, there's mafiosos running the country, whatever, then my next thing is going to be like, show me that on paper with someone else's name signed. Show me a video of those two guys shaking hands. Show me Trump, with a bunch of urine collection vials sneaking out of a hospital somewhere. Like show me some proof. I got no reason to think he's into water sports. And hey, if he is, who gives a fuck? There's plenty of chicks I would let piss on me. I'm not into it, but sure, why not? I think we'd all let a girl pee on us, and we'd all definitely let two hookers piss on the bed of our worst enemy, right? Like if we were somewhere and we were like, oh yeah, that's insert names bed, and you had your two Russian hookers with you, you'd be like, yeah, piss on his bed. While you drank your like $800 glass of cognac and fucking giggled.
So I would not get off knowing that Obama once slept in this hotel room 2 years ago. Now it's been
maybe it was that Obama was about to stay there, and that's the suite he gets.
That's not the story. As far as would I let chicks piss on hypothetical single Woody? Yeah, in the shower, I think I if they're hot enough, I'll let them get away with about anything.
Oh yeah,
that's the move right
in the
there.
shower. That's a very easy thing.
Yeah, right?
It's much easier to say okay in the shower because
that's beginner's water sports.
That cleanliness is right there. Like you can get clean.
All it is an extra warm
But if someone's
spray.
like, hey, we're going, yeah. Oh.
So Selena 22 is that porn star who watches our show, and she's a fan and everything, and follows us on Twitter, and she really follows the show closely. And I talk to her occasionally on DM. And one time I was offering to send her like some FPS Russia gear. I was like, because I've got panties and stuff like that. I was like, hey, maybe you wear them in one of your videos, because her videos get like 8 million. Yeah. Like she'll get banged in the ass, and it's like 8 million views. I was like, maybe we'll put some professional Russian panties on you, and you can get some awful things done.
That's where true viral videos lie. That's a real like 8 million, and to her, she's like 8 million. That's all right. Okay.
So and she's like, yeah, send them. I'll piss on them. And I was like, I don't know if I want to send them now.
Can you not piss on them?
like I was kind of putting a fantasy together here where like you're wearing my panties while I watch you get fucked or something like that, and it's kind of interesting. But now you got to piss on them. So I never did send them, but
Trump would have sent them. Trump would have sent him. He definitely
Trump
has the all publicity is good play. Look, in the primaries, and I respect Trump for this. All the other candidates were pissed that they weren't getting the same amount of coverage, but they weren't going into the lion's den every day, right? Trump is going on CNN, MSNBC, ABC, you name it, doing interviews, getting his name out there.
Shows. Like he was literally getting up at like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And like starting that morning radio show call-in thing that occurs from like
exactly
6 a.m. to like 10 a.m., the ride into work. He'd call as many of those as he could while he was like flying to his next stop or to his next tour date,
right?
Or like, between work, he found a new way to like, he was pumping media. I heard him on so many no name radio shows, like the Jim and Bill Morning Show in Albuquerque. Like it's like, what the fuck's he doing that?
Like in the middle of the campaign, there was a clip from last year on the Opie and Jim show, where I thought it was going to be like a bit where they're like, we got Donald Trump calling in. And I was listening to it on YouTube, and I'm like, oh, I bet that Donald Trump's going to call in as he's running for president. And then they answer it, and it's just this radio show. They're like, Donald, how you doing? He's like, hey, how you guys doing this morning? In the middle of a huge campaign. Like, it was actually him, like just talking the way he would, like totally comfortable on Sirius, not afraid at all of saying something ridiculous, like, oh, how is it going so far, Donald?
Million subscribers.
Meanwhile, every news outlet out there would love to have had Jeb Bush as an interview, and he's hiding behind some staff.
Yeah, because they're afraid.
Same with Clinton. Clinton wouldn't go anywhere. Clinton was that's what Megyn Kelly was saying. Like Megyn Kelly does not like Donald Trump, clearly. But I was listening to her the other day. She's like, and they were talking about this point specifically about him getting so much media attention. She's like, we contacted Hillary Clinton constantly. She was giving every opportunity under a myriad of circumstances, rule sets, any way you can go about getting an interview that she'd be comfortable with doing with me. And the feeling was that she did not want to legitimize Fox News, that she would rather not go on the biggest fucking cable news network in the world and try to push her platform forward against Orange Hitler, as he's known. She'd rather hide. Meanwhile, Trump doesn't care who you are. He'll go on there and fight a fucking like crusade against.
He'll go on like 5v1 on some panel.
Yeah, he'll be on the Young Turks on there, like no. He'll bring up the Armenian genocide, and like their eyes will burst out of their head.
And about all that. Right? She had a slightly different thing she was working with, right? Like Hillary always thought she was ahead, or may have even been ahead at some point. You don't really know until the election.
She had Ronda Rousey syndrome. She had John Podesta over in there. God, your boxing's good. God, it's sharp, Hillary. Oh, you're like a pro. You could take on Mayweather.
So
maybe Mayweather's next, Hillary.
But on the other shoulder, being ignored was, hey, maybe you should go up to Michigan and see if they're interested, you know?
So if the news cycle is currently Donald Trump called Miss Universe fat, or if the news cycle is currently Donald Trump grabs women by the pussy without their consent or whatever, then Hillary's like, you know what? I'm just going to fade into the background and not interrupt this news cycle. And that seemed to happen all the time. So that was the thought process.
But Donald
turned out to be wrong.
But what Donald would do was, those who hate him, and there were so many, they would come up with those news stories. They would either dig them up because they're factual, because they would take tape right from him, and whether they doctored it or not, portray him badly. Look, you don't have to do that whole doctoring thing CBS did with the 911 Trayvon Martin tape to make Trump look bad. You don't have to go that far. However, at times they did do that to him. They will always cut off like his third sentence. There's the third part of his sentence or something. If he's gonna say they're rapists, they're drug dealers, or this, and some of them I assume are good people, they really just want to cut that good people part out, and it just seems a little disingenuous that they always cut it out. It's like you didn't have 2.5 seconds more of airtime. Like, let's just be 100% clear. Like, yeah, he said something pretty ridiculous, but let's hear the end of it. I felt like that happened to him constantly, but he was always ready to throw a little something out into the news cycle to get you out over that. He'd say something crazy, or he'd attack somebody in a funny way, or whether it was Little Marco or Lion Ted, all those insults, all that bravado, all that entertainment. He was a show. He was a carnival act. I
can't believe that he It is crazy thinking about it now. There's going to be college courses, media classes, a decade from now about media manipulation and how to play the media and what he did. Because he really did do that. He played all of them.
Do you think that after his presidency, he'll have a big career in giving speeches and going places and talking about, winning? That would be my thing. Don't go in there as the businessman. Don't go in there as the politician talking about social issues. Go in there and talk about winning, because that's what he's known for. That's what he's done. He could give 2-hour talks about winning across the country and make himself a couple more $1 billion probably. He'll have another book. He's
not too old. I mean, if he made it 2 terms, he'd be 78.
Get himself another book rolling out. Oh, it's going to be impressive. I can't wait till those fireside chats start kicking up. I bet he might start uploading YouTube videos.
We'll see. I really look forward to seeing his communication.